I never thought in a million years that we would be at this point in our country where we're still trying to unpack issues of race, violence, and discrimination. Hi, I'm Margo Dawson, and I've been involved in race relations work for several decades, along with my husband, Dawson. And I just want to talk to you about what we feel that we have to offer to help not just put a Band-Aid on the sore, but to dig deep and do some surgery and remove the issues so that we can get about healing in this country. When my husband was with the New England Patriots, we were a pretty popular couple living in Rentham, Massachusetts, which was a few minutes from the stadium in Foxborough. And life was pretty nice until we sent our preschool child to school. And I got a phone call saying to come quick. And the issue was all about race and the kids not understanding why he was the color that he was, and they didn't want him to play. I couldn't believe that. What was more shocking is that the attitude of the teachers were they didn't know what to do. And so I packed my child up and went home. And after I got over all the emotionalism, and that's usually what happens when there's an incident, we get emotional. How we choose to react is another situation. Back then when we did race work, whether it was for the Environmental Protection Agency or the Legal Aid Board or Major League Soccer, we had the same goal whenever we went into work with an organization. It was to help that organization define goals to move from discrimination, a lot of stereotypical attitudes, and to build a plan. We always talked about setting goal number one, to provide an environment to address and understand a variety of complex diversity dimensions. You know, I can talk about that today. I've got young adult children who have worked in companies, and they talk about struggling with some of the same issues in terms of the environment. Is your environment a place where you can address complex diversity dimensions? Another goal is to explore personal and institutional perspectives concerning diversity issues. That's a big one. We want to help people understand and wrestle with the question, how is prejudice and hatred learned? How is it perpetuated? The third goal is we help you to explore and craft a plan. We've been doing this for decades. Not just something to put a Band-Aid on the situation or just to check off that you did diversity training, but we want to help you build a plan that has some long-term impact, a plan that can be measured, a plan that institutes model behavior. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my husband, leadership expert Dawson, and he's going to talk about social change and action steps.
And so the first thing I think when you see an atrocity happen, we have to get information. All right? Yes, it could go viral, but the video may be all you have. The first thing you got to do is get the right information. We are too quick to be emotionally charged. Number two, Dr. King says we need to educate all those around us. Look at the department. Look at the organization. This could happen at your job. Go to HR. There are some strategies that you need to follow about keeping record. Number three, what is your personal commitment? You got to know your personal commitment before you move any further. What are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go? Because oftentimes it's going to be one step beyond what you're willing to do. How many of the senators are you going to write? How many prayer visuals are you going to have? Number four, now negotiations supposed to start. Let's go back to the bus boycott. Once people of color and black folks start riding the buses, all right, Dr. King was then called in to negotiate. So this was going on for some time. Black people were discriminated against. They had the right ride on the back of the bus. And if that section was filled, they had to stand up, even though there were seats empty in the front of the bus. All right, so this had been going on for some time, and they had the right information, all right? People have been educated, and if negotiation doesn't work, then direct action. Just don't get the information and then go right to direct action. There's some steps here that we lose, all right, and it can hurt our leadership if we go to direct action too fast. I'm not saying you're not going there, but you got to make sure all these other pieces are in place. As a policeman, he began to talk about the march of what they call the march of death, a walk between his car and your car, and the different type of things that's going on. Pull over so the police is not worrying about oncoming traffic, okay? So you don't want the police worrying about what's happening in your car and traffic. That's not a good combination. Take those hats off. Take the hats off. The goal is to get home safely. If you've been stopped, roll your windows down so the police can look right into your car. Hands on your lap or on your dashboard. As a leadership practitioner, there's a couple of things I know. One, that most of anything in this country that's going to be developed is going to happen because of vision or pain. Storms do two things. It reveals character as well as flaws. And that storm, as horrible as it was, showed me some things I needed to nail down. And as a leader, you know this, that the higher you're up, the bigger the storm. The bigger the storm, the more people you impact. Storms at their worst don't last. Let's expect the best out of each other.